Specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Happy Hour.
Husker softball in all preseason polls. In the 4 polls, 13th, 15th, 17th, and 18th. USA Softball is part of that. Softball America is one of them as well. D1 Softball. Top 20 as a team, and they have at least 2 players in every top 50, top 100 poll, with Jordy Ball being anywhere from second. Honestly, I think third was her lowest ranking in some of those. And Billy Andrews. Usually it's those 2. There was one that had Kate Kaneda.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Adam Carriker on The Ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, first and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome everybody into Adam Carriker on The Ticket. Now, today's a unique show. Today's a special show. I'm going to be joined here shortly by my former Nebraska teammate, Mike Stuntz, a man who played, and I talk about during the interview because we already recorded, it's pre-recorded, that he played 3 different positions. He actually played 4. He played quarterback. By the way, in 2001, he was the first skill position player to not redshirt in nearly half a decade. It was like 1997, the last time a skill position player at that point in time, college football is much different than, as we all know, had not redshirted. So he played quarterback, he played wide receiver, he closed out his career at free safety, played a bunch of special teams. He was also a split end as a freshman as well. So 4 different positions. The man has a plethora of skills. And we talk about, during that interview, check it out, we talk about a lot of things. And we talk about the end of the Alamo Bowl, 2005 versus Michigan, and he gives his perspective. I'll give mine real quick because I wanted him to give his during the interview. Michigan's throwing the ball. They're trying to make one long play to score from 70 yards out or whatever. And they're throwing the ball back and forth across the field. As teams to try to get these big plays at the end of games. And I remember I chased across the field one time. I chased across the field the next time, which, by the way, is a half gasser in full pads at the end of a game after I'd gone against Jake Long, future #1 overall draft pick the entire day. They throw it again. I go back and forth across the field, which is like 150 to 160 yards. The field's 153 1/3 yards wide. It's like 160 yards at that point. I'm exhausted. And then I think the game's over. And I'm like, done. And then Mike talks about how Titus Brothers saved us a huge embarrassing loss, an all-time ESPN SportsCenter moment that I would not have appreciated. Okay. But Mike gives his perspective. Me, I was dead dog tired. That was my perspective. But hear Mike's perspective during that interview. Also, I'm going to give my way too early projections for Nebraska's offensive starters next year, and I go into great depth, and I have a whole lot of fun with it as well. Now, before we dive into that, all right, I've talked recently about Caitlin Clark, and I actually am a big Caitlin Clark fan. I think she's very polarizing, and some people think she's arrogant. Some people, honestly, I think the fact that she's a devout Catholic turns some people off. Whether you like that or not is irrelevant to me. I don't really think she does much. I think she's a great player. I think something happened on a big stage versus LSU a year ago, which put a lot of people on the map, including herself, and I think she's been polarizing ever since. Mostly she's a great player. And I've talked about how I actually like her and I admire her. And she grew up playing against boys in basketball, on a boys basketball team, with it against boys. And she was so good the opposing parents complained. Why is this girl playing with it against boys? Why is she playing against our boys? Translation, she's kicking our boys' butts. We can't handle it. Wham, 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 wham. By the way, I have 3 daughters who play basketball with and against boys a lot of the time. My daughter Dakota is on a boys baseball team. My 2nd graders play against 3rd and 4th graders. This isn't bragging. This is me saying I can relate, and I love and respect that. Here's why I bring that up. She blocked me on Twitter. I got to be honest, I didn't even know she knew who I was. Now, what have I ever said that might offend someone from Iowa? I don't understand. I've never said anything that could possibly ever offend anyone from Iowa, right? I mean, other than they have horrifically horrible corn, they don't know how to score. The corn in Nebraska, leans to the west because Iowa blows, or is it the corn leans to the east because Iowa sucks? I can't remember. I have no idea why anyone in Iowa would possibly have an issue with me. It's just beyond me, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. All right, but I digress. In all seriousness, I'm actually a big fan of Caitlin Clark. I'm curious to see how her career grows. She just set, if you didn't know, the all-time women's scoring record with a deep three. Okay, a mini half-court shot, if you will. And she just passed Pistol Pete Maravich, record of 3,667 points scored, all-time NCAA scoring record, of all things, with a technical free throw at the end of the first half, one of their games this past weekend. So, for me, I'm actually a big Caitlin Clark fan. Iowa still has bad corn, etc. I just thought it was funny. I didn't even know she knew who I was, and then she blocked me on Twitter. So that I legit LOL'd. I actually laughed out loud. But I'll be honest with you, I have shown clips of her to my girls to kind of inspire them. So Iowa, Nebraska, that whole thing aside, I think it's funny that she blocked me. Honestly, I got a chuckle out of it. But I'm going to continue to show her highlights to my girls because I think she's very interesting. I do think she's polarizing, whether it's her fault or not. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how that translates to the WNBA or not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, up next is my interview with Mike Stuntz, followed by the Carriker Chronicles, where I break down who I believe is going to start and be in the starting competition battles for each position on offense for Nebraska football come the fall.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives. Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Reading may be the most valuable skill your child will ever learn. And research proves that when children read outside the classroom, they do much better in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's easy to picture yourself reading with a young child curled up in your lap, but don't forget about your older children. They also need encouragement to read. So set aside some time to read together and help your child achieve and succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at gohogwild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see increasing cloud cover throughout the day. Also see calm winds and an afternoon high around 57. Tonight, partly cloudy skies are expected with an overnight low around 32. And tomorrow, partly sunny skies will return a little warmer, see a high around 60. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through March 5th is fresh cut chuck roast for just $5.99 per pound and 29% off all soap and skincare products. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or at 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer. Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 93.7 The Ticket. I am joined by a former teammate, a man who should never, ever, ever have to pay for a drink again in the state of Nebraska, a man who played not 1, but 2, but 3 different positions during his time with the Big Red, my good friend, Mr. Mike Stuntz. How you doing, Mike?
Great. Adam, how you been, man?
Dude, I'm glorious. I appreciate you taking the time to join me. Now, first things first, I put out just a tweet, no big deal.
Yeah.
Just complimenting Zach Taylor. Said he was the toughest quarterback I ever played with. Didn't mean to take a jab at anyone else. And what do you know? In the responses, I see Mike Stuntz, Jesus, man, I'm right here. And I'm like, oh, crap. I didn't even think about this. So my response was, I'm pretty sure you were a safety when we played together, at least for a while. Don't worry. You're at least one of the top 50 toughest safeties I've ever played with. And then I said, let me guess, I'm probably somewhere in the top 1,000 toughest D linemen you ever played with laughing emojis. And then Mike goes, well, not anymore, fella. This cut deep, and I am not above holding a grudge. And then I said, you're by far the toughest ophthalmologist I've ever met. Also, the toughest left-handed quarterback I've ever played with. Now, Mike, if I offended you, you're clearly not as tough as Zach Taylor because I have to apologize. No, I love you, man. You know what's funny? I didn't even think about that when I put it out. Dude, I got nothing but love and respect for you, but I just thought that was a fun interaction on Twitter.
Oh no, I was totally joking. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't offended even for a second, buddy. Like I get it. Zach's a super tough guy, but I'm one of those people who's really negative, and I'm constantly looking for ways to be offended, and so I spend a lot of time on the internet trying to do that. And it's working out well for me.
All right. Mike's one of the toughest keyboard warriors I've ever met, apparently. I didn't know that until just today.
You don't even know how tough I am behind the keyboard, buddy. Yeah. Got
All right,
burner
man.
accounts left and right.
Oh, dude, you got burner accounts. That's who's been hitting me up, dude. I keep trying to block you. I can't keep track of them all, man.
Yeah. No, I don't have any of those. I wouldn't do that. Not my style.
No, not at all. Mike, actually, being an option quarterback is one of the toughest things because you were an option quarterback when you came to Nebraska. Obviously, you had the ability to play multiple positions. But being an option quarterback, you had to read the defense. You had to be able to pitch. You had to be able to catch, read the dive. You had to be able to make all these decisions while knowing you're going to get hit in the mouth. You're going to deliver a blow. So I actually consider option quarterbacks to be some of the toughest people I've ever met. So I got nothing but love and respect for you there. Now, I've asked you this before, but I'm going to ask it again for those who didn't hear. All right. The reverse touchdown pass to Eric Crouch. Walk through us what that was like. Obviously, they set up the play throughout the game where several end arounds, getting Thunder Collins in motion. All of a sudden, now he gets it, pitches it to you. You see Crouch, you make the throw. Talk us through it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was something that we worked on in practice, and the way I remember it went pretty well. Other people feel like practice didn't go so sharp, but it was good enough that we felt confident to run it in the game. The wildest thing was them running the exact same play, earlier in the game and missing it. So I thought for sure that they had a spy or something, and they had stolen our play, and they were never going to run ours at that point. And then they told me, gotta get ready. We're going to call it. So mentally kind of prepared myself to get in there and let it fly. And I mean, he was wide open. Like it wasn't a hard throw, right? Like he was wide open. So the rest was all Eric outrunning everybody. Obviously the world-class speed is helpful there. And it the rest is history. It was great. It was a great time, big game, a lot of fun. Victory always makes those more fun, right? And here we are at 23, almost 23 years later, still talking about it. Wow. I did not see that coming at the time.
Now, it's interesting because I remember, first of all, Oklahoma stealing signs or spying or whatever. They were the Patriots before the Patriots. They were Michigan before Michigan, but it didn't work. You know why? Because I remember their play. Their quarterback was wide open, but the throw was awful. The throw hit the dirt. The guy had no chance to catch it. So you made a great throw, hit him in stride too.
I mean, I don't know the guy who threw theirs. Maybe he wasn't a quarterback or something, but for me, it was not hard. He was wide open. So obviously we had practiced it quite a bit too. And it was great. It was good coaching, good personnel management there, getting me rolling to my left, knowing they had a left-handed quarterback who could come in and do that. Like that was smart planning by the coaches too. So that was critical.
Now, I brought you on a few months ago, and I will accept the blame for this. I forgot to ask you about a story because you're like, dude, I got a story about Bill Bush if you want to ask me about it. And then I spaced it off, but I'm not going to space it off twice. So let's hear this story about Coach Bill Bush that you've got.
Yeah, no. First, let me preface this by saying I love Coach. He's a great guy, and I'm sure other people have other great stories about him. And this is a positive one. I'll start there. But Coach liked to talk about how he liked to work out, and so how good a shape he was in and everything like that. And he and Andrew Shanley kind of throughout the year, my senior year, would kind of have a back and forth about who could do more push-ups, et cetera, and for some reason or another, it would never quite get done. And usually it was on Coach Bush's part, at least that's how Shanley would tell it, that there was a reason why they couldn't have this contest. And so we were getting ready for practice and, going through the film, and Coach Bush started talking about something about consistency and showing up every day and, doing things that you say you're going to do, et cetera, and that sort of thing. And Shanley says to him like, kind of like that push-up contest. And
oh man,
the room just gets dead silent, absolutely dead silent. And Bush just shooting daggers at Shanley. And we're all like, oh my God, Andrew just ended his career. Like why would you do that? And, Coach Bush looks at them and is like, oh, okay. All right. It's like that. Fine. Walks out and, leaves the room. And everybody's looking at Shanley. We're like, dude, when he comes back, just say you're sorry. It was a bad joke and cross your fingers and, we'll all stick up for you, et cetera, et cetera. He's gone for a long time. And we're like, oh my God, he's going to come in here and he's going to murder Shanley. And that's it. That's going to be the end of him. And he comes back in workout gear, hat on backwards. And he's like, all right, let's go. And he and Shanley dropped to the floor and start doing, he had said that he could do 50 push-ups. That's what it was. I'm sorry. He said that he could do 50 push-ups and nobody believed him. And so he drops to the floor and just starts cranking out push-ups, just going. Everyone's losing their mind. Everyone's down on the floor counting with him. And he gets, 47, 48. He's struggling. Boom, gets it, nails it. The whole room goes bonkers, and he's, up in Shanley's grill, like I told you, and everybody absolutely loved it. Place went nuts. All the DBs were losing their minds. It was kind of a classic, Coach Bush twist where you can't quite tell what he's going to do, and then he does it, and everybody loved it. It was fantastic. It was one of my favorite memories from my time playing with Coach.
That's awesome. And it's funny because Coach Bush is a very personable guy. Obviously has a show here on the Ticket, does a phenomenal job. But dude, when you coach that long at that high a level and you have that much success, there's an intense side. Or a competitive side. So I could see that coming out, dude. And I can just imagine the DBs going nuts on something like that. So I got a question. I did a little bit of research on you and I found out something today I did not know. Where did that go? All right. You have Stuntz was a first-team academic All Big 12 selection in 2005 as a professional golf management major. Now I gotta ask, is that not the most popular major of all time? And how has that major helped you in life? I'm just curious. That has to be the most phenomenal major ever, dude.
So it really was a great program. It was a very interesting mix of kind of like turf grass science and business management, and then obviously golf as well. And the guys who ran the program when I was there, I think they're still there. Terry Reardon and Scott Hawley, just great guys. They got the program off the ground, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that for as specific as that sounds, like the type of classes that I took were across the board. I was all over the place. I mentioned the turf grass and the science of biology, and then accounting and business management and all this stuff. And so I felt like I got a very balanced education doing that. And I think the program has grown quite a bit in popularity. It is hilarious though, because I guarantee you, I am the only physician who has that as their degree. And it was not particularly helpful when it came time to apply to medical schools. There were some requirements that needed to be done still, that's for sure. So, that's kind of a circuitous route to get into medical school. But if you're interested in golf, business management, anything like that, even if you wanted to get into more of the turf side of it, superintendent, that sort of thing, it's a great program. I probably still over there on East Campus. I'll put in the recommendation. We'll turn it into a commercial for the professional golf management program at the university. They did a great job, and I loved it. Not super applicable for me right now, but at the time it was fantastic.
I tell you what, taking care of turf and grass and things of that nature, there's a little bit more that goes into it than people might think. And I'm not experienced, but my first ever summer job, I worked with the stadium crew there at Nebraska.
Yeah.
And so basically I'd go work out, I'd take a summer class or two, and then I was in charge of kind of taking, now it's all the football fields. If you remember years ago, where those football fields are now outside of the Hawks Center, okay, those used to be softball fields. Do you remember that at all way back in the day? So I was actually in charge of taking care of those during the spring and summer during softball season, not by myself. I was just one of the people, thank God, or they probably wouldn't have been taken care of very well. I had the simple jobs. Basically, I did the lines and I made sure the sprinklers worked, if I'm being honest with you. All right, so your last game with the Big Red was the Alamo Bowl versus Michigan. Okay, and to me, that was one of the more fun bowl games I ever got to play in. You know, personally, I got to play against Auburn in the Cotton Bowl. Then you got Michigan. We destroyed Michigan State when they talked a ton of trash going to the Alamo Bowl 2 years before that. That Alamo Bowl versus Michigan, now that was a preseason top 5 team. That was a team that had Chad Henne, Michael Hart, quarterback, running back. They got like, a 2-touchdown lead on us, but then we were able to come back, get the victory. I remember Corey Ross, Zach Taylor had big games. What are your memories of your final game in that Alamo Bowl versus Michigan for the Big Red?
Yeah, no, actually, that was a great game. Another good Bill Bush moment there. So we're doing our thing. I played a lot of special teams at that point. Basically, kickoff cover, punt return, stuff like that. And guys were dropping like flies. I think two guys, Joey Robinson and Tyler Fisher both had like season-ending injuries, just within like minutes of each other. And so special teams fellas from, central and western Nebraska were having a bad day, that's for sure. And so we're getting down to it. And last kickoff, and, Bush is running around trying to find a warm body basically to go out there. And I had done kickoff at one point. And so I just kind of walked by. I was like, Coach, yeah, I got it or whatever. And he loves to tell the story and make it sound like, he was the only one cool keeping his head, but I can tell you that is not the case. He was excited, and it was an uneventful kickoff for the most part, but I loved his intensity. The guy was ready to go. It was a big part of the game, and he was getting all over it and making sure that we had that thing covered. So good coach, great coach.
Last question I got for you. I know you got to go run and save people's eyesight. And, I had LASIK about 17, 18 years ago, and my eyes started to go fuzzy a couple years ago. I need to chat with you again. I never dude, life got so crazy. I never did follow up. I need to have a follow-up LASIK at some point. But I'll save that topic for another day off air. My question for you, do you remember the last play of that Michigan game where they threw the ball laterally like 3 or 4 times, and then everyone thought the game was over and they about scored? And I think we eventually tackled them late. Like, that could have been one of the all-time greatest plays on ESPN and worst plays in Nebraska football history. Do you remember that play?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you watch the replay, Titus Brothers, I think pretty much saves us from just annihilation and embarrassment, right? Because the guy was not down, and how they did not throw a flag on us, who knows? Because I think it was Andy Pulaski. Some of those dudes were, they were 6 inches from the ball, came off the sideline.
On the field.
6 inches from the ball, on the field, no flags thrown. We're going to look the other way on this one. That was a classic. I was not on the field. I'd like to point that out. I maintained discipline. I stayed back, but it was tempting. That's for sure. No, that was a classic game. That was an absolutely fantastic finish. 2 heavyweight programs. Great way to go out, I felt like. So, but thank the Lord for Titus Brothers actually paying attention, finishing the play. Otherwise, that's an embarrassment. So, good times, buddy.
Every family has an Uncle Bill. I have an in-law called Uncle Bill. He goes, "You should have let him score. You would have seen yourself on ESPN for years." Bill, you're right, and that's a horrible idea. Much love, my friend. That's a horrible idea.
Yeah, that's the worst idea I've ever heard, Bill.
All right, Mike, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you got to get back to work saving people's eyesight. I'll probably need you to help me save my eyesight at some point in the future, but I appreciate you joining me, my friend.
Anytime, AC. Good talking to you. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, Mike. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see increasing cloud cover throughout the day. Also see calm winds and an afternoon high around 57. Tonight, partly cloudy skies are expected with an overnight low around 32. And tomorrow, partly sunny skies will return a little warmer, see a high around 60. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Koppel truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at KoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
After the snow-packed winter we've had so far, people need some green, which is good because Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Until April 2nd, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So slide into your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer and play to win some green today. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You did feel the need to cuss in this one. Yeah, you cannot be this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet.
Do
you think Fred saw the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and called a timeout and they're like, Sorensen's upset? I got to get this.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you are passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Happy Hour.
Husker softball in all preseason polls. In the 4 polls, 13th, 15th, 17th, and 18th. USA softball is part of that. Softball America is one of them as well. D1 softball. Top 20 as a team, and they have
at least 2 players in every top 50, top 100 poll, with Jordy Ball being anywhere from second. Honestly, I think third was her lowest ranking in some of those. And Billy Andrews. Usually it's those 2. There was one that had Kate Kaneda.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation. Brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been far too long since I have done a Carriker Chronicles. Now, it's for good reasons, to be honest with you, but I'm going to dive into that a little bit later in the show, so stay tuned for that. Now, bear with me. Of course, I woke up. I'm excited to do a show. I've missed doing the show. A lot of stuff going on, positive stuff. Check it out later in the show. I'm going to dive into it like I just mentioned. But of course, I wake up and I'm not feeling 100%. But I love doing this job. So let's light this candle and I can pass out later today if I need to. All right, so a couple of things. I want to give my projections for the starters in each and every position, because it's March and they haven't taken a snap of spring ball yet. So why not? Way too early projected offensive starters for Nebraska football going into next fall. But as I mentioned, it's been a while since I've done this show. So I want to show some love, give a shout out, get some updates for those who haven't been completely up to speed on some of the winter sports going on and some of the highlights. So, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Nebraska men's basketball. They just had their best home season in Nebraska program history. 18-1 home record. That's awesome. Pinnacle Bank Arena has been rocking several times this year for the men, for the women. It's a clear home court advantage. It's the most home wins in program history, a 947 home winning percentage, the best since 1965 and 66. 10-0 Big Ten home record. That's phenomenal. All right, first perfect conference home record since 2017 and 18, and the third in over a century since 1921. Now, the Big Red basketball team, 21-9, 100% of their neutral site games as well, 1-0 on the year. Can't discount that. All right, their overall winning percentage was 700 this year, or 70%. Their last game is versus Michigan in Ann Arbor. They already beat the Wolverines by 20 points this year. So let's finish the season strong. Fellas, all right, they're fourth in the Big Ten standings right now, potentially a 10, 8, or even 7 seed going in to the NCAA tournament, of course, depending on how they do in the Big Ten tournament. Now, Nebraska women's basketball having a good season as well. Their final regular season record is 19-10, a 655 winning percentage, 13-3 at home. Again, Pinnacle Bank Arena just rocking this year. 1-1 neutral site games. Okay, number 5 seed going into the Big Ten tournament with the first round bye. Then they just missed out on the double bye, but nonetheless a great season so far. And the NCAA tournament is in their sights as well. And again, depends on how they do in the Big Ten tournament, but they got a real good chance of making the NCAA tournament. I'll be shocked if they don't. Husker baseball so far 7-3. If you ain't paying attention, they just finished a sweep of the College of Charleston, which is a solid baseball team in South Carolina. They're number 1 in strength of schedule in the country and number 1 in the country in RPI as well early on in this baseball season. Now, Nebraska wrestling, if you missed it, I've had a chance to interview Amy Williams, the Nebraska women's basketball coach, Mark Manning, the wrestling coach, on 93.7 The Ticket. Check out those shows when you get an opportunity. Nebraska wrestling, number 3 in America, 12-2, okay, on the season. What Nash Hupmaker has done so far this year, after taking, 3-4 years off of wrestling, okay, lost 30, 40 pounds. Now he's going to have to put it back on to play football. To watch what he has done and the support he's received from the football team and everyone has been awesome so far and very impressive this wrestling season. All right, shout out to Keisei Tominaga and all the seniors in all the sports, all right, who a lot of them just finished their senior nights, so to speak. Some of them have them coming up going forward in their senior sports, in their senior days coming up soon. Easy for me to say. And good luck as the postseason approaches. And if you're with me on all of that, ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button to show those players and those Husker programs some love. And if you haven't done so yet, also hit that subscribe button. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's light this candle, dive into my projections for Nebraska's offensive starters going into next season. We have a lot of guys coming back. We have a lot of talent, a lot of highly recruited guys, a lot of guys that we brought in through the transfer portal at very key positions. All right, wide receivers. Jamal Banks, this is senior out of Wake Forest, a transfer, 6'4", 205, earned all conference honors for the Demon Deacons. And Isaiah Nayer, the Texas transfer, 6'3", 215 pounds, a senior. Okay, both these guys have a ton of playing experience, ton of starting experience. 2 previous all-conference honor winners as your potential, okay, starting wide receivers. Isaiah Nayer did it at Wyoming now. He was probably the top wide receiver in the entire transfer portal a couple years ago when he went into Texas. He was kind of expected to be their wide receiver number 1. Had the knee injury, been bouncing back ever since. But you got 2 big targets, 6'4", 6'3", 205 pounds, 215 pounds. Guys who've done it in the past. Hopefully Isaiah can get back into that form before the knee injury, and I expect he can. Okay, experience, size. This is exciting for the wide receivers and the guys throwing the ball to the wide receivers, but I'll get there in a minute. All right. Now, don't forget about some of the other guys. Okay, you got sophomore Malachi Coleman. You played in 11 games last year, 6 starts, 6'4", 190 pounds, another big target with great speed. The number 1 recruit in the state of Nebraska, coming out of high school, one of the top recruits in the country, battling to be a starter and to get on the field in various types of formations, where there's 2 receivers, 3 receivers. I don't know, did we go 4? Did we do that? Does Matt rule? I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. He did it some at Baylor. I'm just saying, if you got the ability to do these things, you never know what'll happen, because don't forget about sophomore wide receiver, speed demon, under-the-radar recruit from Omaha, Jalen Lloyd. Was a track star in high school, 6-time state champion, all-class champion in long jump, triple jump, 100 meters, and he won some of these multiple times, these events I'm talking about. Last year, he had 6 catches, 237 yards, 3 TDs, average basically 40 yards per catch, 39.5 yards per reception. And all 3 of his touchdown catches were over 50 yards. Now check this out. Lloyd, an Ohio State All-American wide receiver who's going to be like a top 2 or 3 draft coming up here in the NFL draft pretty soon, top 2 or 3 draft pick, are the only Big Ten wide receivers to have at least 3 receptions over 50 yards. All right. Now, don't forget about a guy like a walk-on junior, Alex Bullock, and there's other guys in that wide receiver room as well. Okay, a guy I'm a fan of. Keep your eyes on him. He's from Omaha, Nebraska, played in 12 games with 8 starts last year. Some of the other pass catchers. All right, tight ends Thomas Fedoni and Nate Borkashire. All right, Fedoni, 6'6", 250 pounds. You probably know this, but the country's top tight end recruit, a top 40 recruit in the entire country as an overall whole, coming out of high school. Now, I believe Georgia's tight end, Brock Bowers, was number 2 in that class. I'd have to double check that, but it's clear that Fedoni feels he has a lot to prove after battling injuries early on in his career, and that can be a great motivator, I might add. Now, he led the Huskers with 4 touchdown catches and 25 receptions for 260 yards, which was second on the team last year. Okay, his 4 TD catches, most by a Husker tight end since 2010. Okay, a very willing blocker, I might add. All right, he will definitely try to finish you on the blocks. Now, if he puts on a little bit more mass, size, and strength, a little bit more poundage without losing that speed, okay, on his 250-pound body at the moment, it'd make him an even more effective blocker. Now, tight end Nate Borkashire, all right, 6'5", 245 pounds. Again, a guy who will block, a guy who will try to finish you. Both these tight ends will block, and he's an underrated pass catcher as well, I might add. They had some poundage, some strength, some size without losing speed this offseason. We had the number 2 rushing attack in the entire Big Ten last year. One of the best in the country, could be even better with those tight ends blocking as well. Okay, 6'5", 245 pounds out of Aurora, Nebraska. Now, I got many fond memories personally, myself, of Aurora. My grandparents owned a small family farm for years, decades, in Giltner, Nebraska, if you've ever heard of it. That's where my dad was born and raised. He grew up on that farm. When my grandparents retired, they moved to Aurora. And so I spent many a nights in my grandparents' house playing cards, going to card parties, watching college football games, eating some of the best food I've ever had. Okay, so I got a lot of wonderful memories of Aurora. Random sidebar. Let's bring it back to the topic at hand. Now, Nate joined the Huskers as a walk-on after he turned down a scholarship offer from Chadron State. Now, he's had 11 starts so far in his career, played in 27 games. Another guy to keep your eye on. All right, the offensive line, okay, topic of many a conversation here in Husker Nation over the past few years. I believe from the center to the right tackle, we have reasons for great optimism. And I'm not saying we don't at the left guard or left tackle. There's just some more things that have to be proven. Now, I believe everyone has to earn their spot day in and day out, year after year, no matter who you are and what you've done in the past. But left guard and left tackle, We're going to get into those in a minute. But center to right guard to right tackle, I feel really good about right now, right here at this moment in time. A right tackle, okay? The most improved player on the team last year, in my opinion, and he chose to come back for another season here at Nebraska as well. One of the top O-line recruits out of high school, struggled early on in his career, talking about Bryce Benhart, okay? Played very well last season. This dude's massive, 6'9", 315 pounds. Honorable mention, all Big Ten performer a season ago, 41 career starts, ties him for the most starts by an offensive lineman at the University of Nebraska all time. Okay, he's probably going to break that record this year. Okay, and his 41 starts at right tackle, okay, is the most by a right tackle in Nebraska football history as well. He's also got like the record for consecutive starts and things of that nature. That's Mr. Bryce Benhart. Now at right guard, senior transfer Micah Mazuka the Bazooka. So I have read this before, but I'm going to read it again for those who haven't heard it, okay? And this is back when I announced him joining the team, all right? Nebraska's O-line just got bigger and better because he transferred from Florida and Baylor to join Nebraska. He almost joined Nebraska a season ago, but he's joining us now. Micah Mazuka announced that he'll be transferring to us. He started 10-plus games each of the last 2 years for Florida and Baylor. In 2022 at Baylor, he played in 11 games, had 10 starts, and graded out as the second-best guard in the Big 12, according to Pro Football Focus, and the 42nd best guard in the nation. At run blocking specifically, he graded as the best in the conference and 15th best in the nation. Think about that. He was the best run blocker in the entire Big 12 in 2022 and the 15th best in the country. 2023 of Florida. Oh, keep in mind, he's 6'5", 325. Like, this dude's a big dude. Okay, Micah started at right guard in 11 of 12 games and played 743 snaps. He's got a ton of experience. Now, he can improve his pass pro just a little bit, but this dude will fire off the ball and hit you in the mouth. He's a heck of a run blocker. Now at center, we got Ben Scott, 6'5", 305 pounds, a Remington and Senior Bowl preseason watch list individual, 28 career starts at Arizona State before he ever even stepped foot on the field for the Big Red a season ago and transferred to Nebraska. Now, last year with the Huskers, he was a mainstay on the offensive line, earning honorable mention all Big Ten honors, and chose to come back to Nebraska this year when I'm sure some other teams tried to lure him away in the transfer portal. Now, he helped, as I mentioned earlier, helped Nebraska rank second in the Big Ten in rushing and may be potentially our best offensive lineman going into next year. All around, talking about all around best offensive lineman potentially. So, again, from center to right guard to right tackle, I feel pretty good right here, right now. You look at left guard, left tackle, to me, it's not some gigantic question mark. Some things do have to be proven a little bit more, and spots got to be earned even more. Okay, at left guard, Justin Evan Jenkins, probably the early favorite, in my opinion, in this competition. All right, at left guard, he played in all 12 games as a freshman with 5 starts at both center and left guard last year. Now, starting at 2 different spots is much more difficult than someone might realize on the offensive line, especially when one of those spots is center. You got to make the calls. You're making the calls for the entire offensive line. You're calling out the mic. You're calling out the strength. You might be sliding the protection. You are the quarterback who might be calling an audible. Like, it's pretty impressive that he started at not 1, but 2 spots last year, and he did it as a freshman, and one of those spots is a center. This dude is 6'1", 315 pounds, Justin Evans Jenkins. All right, now, another guy who could start at left guard potentially is Henry Letufsky. This guy's a big, strong, powerful man, 6'6", 325 pounds. All right, keep your eye on him potentially. I was actually sent messages about him a couple of years ago and how strong he is, and to keep my eye on him ever since then. So just keep your eye on him. He did start a couple of games a year ago as a sophomore going forward. Now, left tackle. We have 2 of the most highly recruited, talented guys in the entire country battling out at left tackle. All right, now the guy I'm going to talk about first, 6'6", 310 pounds, Turner Corcoran. Okay, out of high school, top player in the state of Kansas, one of the top 100 recruits in the country. Has struggled with inconsistency over his 30 career starts so far. It's a lot of experience, ladies and gentlemen. Talented, experience, just got to put it together and find some consistency. Now, his season was shortened by injury a year ago. Hopefully he can put it together like Bryce Benhart did a season ago. Again, size, talent, just find that consistency, which is easier said than done. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. All right, and the main other individual in that left tackle spot, battling for that starting left tackle spot, is Teddy Prohaska. He's probably the favorite right now. 6'10", 325 pounds. I mean, he's 6'10". Benhart's 6'9". I mean, we got 2 small mountains starting potentially at our 2 tackle spots again this year. He's from Elkhorn, Nebraska, one of the top 75 recruits in the country coming out of high school. battled the past couple of seasons, okay, heading into last year, I should say, the previous 2 seasons before that, with season-ending injuries, okay, early on in his career. Now, he played in 10 games with six starts last year. If he can stay healthy, this dude's a legit beast. All right, our O-line is huge, talented, and honestly, this could be a blessing in disguise. Due to the ridiculous amount of injuries we had a year ago, dare I say we actually have depth. I mean, Matt Rule could walk out there and start 6 O-linemen, which he's done in a game before, which Harbaugh, Jim, likes to do as well. You know, and just run the ball right down people's throats and up people's rears. In the second half versus Penn State, they never threw the ball once. They put extra O-linemen on the field. They put them in as tight ends. They just ran the ball. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Rule. I wouldn't put it past our 2 new offensive coordinators. We'll see, though. My point is, we got to figure out who's going to start at left guard, left tackle, and dare I say, maybe do we have some depth? That'd be awfully nice. All right, real quick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, this show is brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction, your local concrete experts. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. If you're a diesel mechanic, CDL driver, concrete finisher, looking for work in the Omaha metro area, DPS Construction is the employer for you. There is no better employer than Jason Armstrong. Okay, there is no better company to have come do work for you. If you're looking for work, if you're looking to have work done, dpsconstruction.net. Check them out, ladies and gentlemen. All right, running back position. This may be the most loaded room on the entire frickin' team. All right, Gabe Irvin Jr., 6 foot, 220 pounds, fast, physical. I pointed this out before and I'll point it out again because just think about it as I'm saying it. He's the first Husker running back ever to start his first game as a true freshman at Nebraska. Think about all the greats we've had play running back. He was the first one ever. Okay, 2 different coaching staffs have absolutely loved this guy. Frost staff and Rule staff, okay? He's had 2 season-ending injuries throughout his career. Knee as a freshman and shoulder a season ago. If he can come back healthy, watch out for this guy. All right, Emmett Johnson, I'm going to talk about him next. I got 5 backs to talk about. All right, a sophomore. He was our 4th stringer heading into the season a year ago. 5'11", 190 pounds. For now, anyways. I'm sure he's hitting that weight room as well, much like a lot of other guys. Now, I don't want to say about killed Matt Rule at the slam dunk contest, but he tried to jump over him and kind of landed right on his head. Player and coach were fine. Everyone's healthy, good to go. All right, now he started 6 of our last 7 games last year. As a freshman, had 90 carries for 411 yards, 2 TDs, and averaged 4.6 yards per carry. Don't sleep on this dude. Don't take him for granted. All right, then Ramir Johnson. All right, 5'10", 180-pound speedster. Now this is another guy who elected to come back to Nebraska. I feel like he's overlooked sometimes. When he had a chance to start early on in his career, he made some plays, and he could do some things. Just had a loaded running back room. This guy was a track star in high school, okay? But I see him, if he doesn't earn the starting job, he could potentially be a great 3rd down running back if he can prove he can also pick up blitzes. That's an overrated, very important skill. Not just catch the ball out of the backfield, which he can do, okay, but picking up blitzers when he's asked to do so is a big deal. And being a 3rd down running back. We just got to get the ball in his hands in space, which is the 3rd down running back or a return guy. I'd love to see that next year with him. All right, Dante Dowdwell, the Oregon transfer, big, powerful back with explosiveness, 6'2", 215 pounds. I mentioned it before, but that's a rare combination, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you make room for a back like him in a room, the running back room, where you don't really need another guy, but you make room for a guy like him. Okay, he's a potential starter. He might be our starter day one. Who knows? If he stays healthy, because we've had some guys get banged up, if these guys can stay healthy, and Dante, who's been healthy, okay, but he could potentially be an immediate impact player. Some folks think he might even be the favorite to start at running back for Nebraska this year. I'm going to throw this guy out there because Matt Rule has mentioned him multiple times in multiple press conferences over the past year. And when a head coach does that, especially for the guy who's never really played a ton, it has to mean something. And that's Quentin Ives. Okay, young back. He needs to learn the playbook better. Young back. Okay, and be a little bit more well-rounded in his game as a whole. 6'2", 185 pounds. Again, loaded running back room, but keep your eye on him. Now, quarterback. This is kind of what I alluded to earlier. Now I'm going to bring this up. So I had talked previously in one of my previous shows that I was going to do a quarterback-specific show in the future, and I'm still going to. So I want to dive into very specific things in that specific quarterback show. And I do apologize because in that same show where I talked about doing a specific quarterback show in the future, I also mentioned I was going to do 1 Carriker Chronicles each week going for at least 1. 1 to 2, but at least 1. And I was brought up, your word is your bond. Again, so here's the thing. I apologize that that has not happened. That is the plan going forward, barring spring break. I am going to take spring break off, but I'll let you fine folks at home know when that's approaching. My family and I are moving, and the move is going to allow us to do even more things in Lincoln and more things in Omaha and more things around those towns and then state of Nebraska. And so I'm going to be honest with you. The future is bright for the Carriker Chronicles. I have been inundated by people who want to be a part of what we're doing, and that has been what I've been focusing on the past few weeks. Not an excuse, just being open and honest with you. I'm so excited. I'm so freaking appreciative. I'm incredibly humbled when I reach out to people and the response I get, or when people want to reach out to me and be a part of what we're doing. So if you want to be a part of what we're doing, shoot me a message. Okay, and honestly, the best way to do it, there's a way to contact me through the website, carrikerchronicles.com. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, if you want to write articles, if you want to help contribute with shows on the website, or whatever the case may be, if you want to be a sponsor for the show, for the website, for the email list that we have, which is pretty large and growing, we're very grateful for that. Just let me know. Hit me up through the contact info on the website, carrikerchronicles.com, or you can shoot me messages other ways as well. But I just wanted to give you a brief update on that. The future is freaking bright. Okay, and I'm excited about everyone who wants to be a part of what they're doing, and they're communicating pretty openly with me. But Dylan Raiola, the quarterback position. Dylan Raiola, Daniel Kalen, Heinrich Harburg. We got two true freshmen, okay, and one individual who has the only quarterback in that room with any starting experience. He has won 5 games, which is the total amount of wins our quarterback room has this year. But the talent in that room is insane. If you don't know this, you probably already do. Okay, but you got 2 Elite 11 quarterbacks in that room, Daniel and Dylan. You got a guy who was a top 20 dual threat quarterback in the entire country when he came out of high school, in Heinrich Harburg. And I like to think of him as a Swiss Army knife going into next year. And I love how he freaking plays. How do you not root for that guy? Okay, the talent in the quarterback room is not short. You know, for me, this is the most exciting position battle the entire offseason. Not just for me, but for most of Husker Nation. The most important position battle. And I will tell you this. We can't mess the quarterback position up again. And no disrespect to anybody or anything from previous years or last year, whatever. I hope you know what I'm saying. All due respect. But we got to get it right, okay? Matt Rule's done a lot of things right since he got here. Quarterback in year 1 wasn't one of them. It's okay. You know, we just got to do better going forward in the future is all I'm saying. Now, my question is, let's say we start a true freshman. Let's say it's Dylan, because that's what everyone's clamoring for, okay? I'm always about earning the freaking job and position. Will fans be patient if there's a big learning curve? Okay. Are the expectations too high for a true freshman? I don't know. These are all things I'm going to dive into. These are things I want you to let me know in the comments below, because I'm thinking about and pondering these things as I get ready for that quarterback show somewhere over the next few weeks that I'm going to do. Now, if you didn't know this, Dylan, Raiola, Daniel, Kalen, they're pocket passers. Okay. Both of their dreams, they grew up wanting to play for Nebraska. Daniel grew up in Nebraska, okay, immediately decommitted from Missouri when he had the chance. Dylan grew up in a Big Red family, as you all know that. Dad played for the Big Red. His uncle now coaches for the Big Red. Their dreams were to play for Nebraska. And I understand some of the switching that happened from school to school with Dylan. But you could just tell this was where his heart always was. And once Rule took over, I think it was easier for him to commit. Now, I will say this. I believe it has to be a legit quarterback battle. It can't be predetermined who's going to win this. I'm going to dive into this more in the future. I would actually start day 1, rep 1. I'd start Heinrich Harburg at quarterback because everybody has to earn it, and he's the only guy who's done it before. Whether I think he's going to be the starter or not come game 1 is irrelevant. To me, it's got to be earned, and I would start rep 1 or practice 1 in spring, the guy who's at least been here before, and then maybe you rotate after that, or you see how it goes, or whatever happens. Again, lots of quarterback thoughts. I'll talk about it in the future. But here is my, and let me know your thoughts below, but here is my projected starters in March, before we've taken a rep of spring practice football for Nebraska's offense starting next year. Okay, and this is fluid and subject to change. I think that goes without saying. At quarterback, I'm going to go for right now Dylan Raiola. Okay, let me be very clear. It needs to be earned. But if I'm going to do a show in March, this is how I'm going to do it, and here we are. All right, running back, I actually think we're going to have a 3-way rotation. Okay, I think somebody's going to end up transferring because the room is so loaded. That's fine. I do think we're going to have a three-way rotation at running back, and my prediction is Gabe Irvin and Dante Dowdwell are the 2 main backs, with Ramir Johnson being a 3rd down back Okay, and hopefully a return specialist. A wide receiver, I got Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair, but keep your eyes on Coleman, Lloyd, etc. as well. At tight end, I got Thomas Fedoni. Okay, at right tackle, I got Bryce Benhart. At right guard, I got Micah Mazuka, the Bazooka. At center, I got Ben Scott. At left guard, I'm going to go with Justin Evans-Jenkins. At left tackle, I'm going to go with Teddy Prohaska. I don't think it'd be a bad thing to grab another lineman out of the portal after the spring ball is over. Just putting it out there. And that's only 10 starters. Now, I didn't really address the fullback position. Okay, that would be the 11th starter. Okay, there's really two favorites right now. Probably the lead man potentially would be Janarium Bonner. But if you go 13 personnel, Nebraska can do that. Bring in Coleman as that third wide receiver. If you want to go 14 personnel with one running back, 4 wide receivers, bring in Jalen Lloyd. If you want to go 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, bring in Nick Borkesher. You want to go 2 running backs, put Gabe and Dante on the field, or Ramir. Like, you can put Harburg on the field. Again, I see him as that Swiss Army knife type of quarterback that you can do a lot of things with. Okay, we have a lot of flexibility with the personnel, I believe, with Nebraska's offense this year. Okay, they could even go 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. They could bring an extra offensive lineman in at tight end. Again, I've mentioned that before. There's a lot of flexibility for co-offensive coordinators Marcus Satterfield, who's going to be calling plays and coaching tight ends, and Glenn Thomas, the newly hired quarterbacks coach, who's also going to be helping to design plays. Now, here are my questions for you fine folks at home. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, do you agree or disagree with any of my projections for starters for Nebraska this upcoming season? You can simply say yes or no, or let me know exactly where you agree or disagree. Number 2, which position on offense is the biggest question mark for you? Number 3, who will take the first snap game 1 at running back for Nebraska? Check out CarrikerChronicles.com. It's going to be overhauled with some new updates soon. Also, Carriker Chronicles Youth Football Camp, K through 8th, summer 2025. Again, we're building and looking ahead. Go Big Red. And always remember, check that out, to throw the bug.
It's $5.99 barbecue time.